Alrighty, guys. Well, Captain America Brave New World has been out for a little bit, and it has actually surpassed the $400 million mark in terms of box office, which, in fairness, I wasn't super confident that it was going to do so. So kudos to it. I've talked about the film a lot, especially around the time that it was released, and while I didn't love the movie, I thought it was okay. It was fine. It was decent. And bearing that out, for the most part, because I think a lot of critics were in the same boat, maybe some loved it a little bit more and some liked it a little bit less. But the ratings here, and whether or not I would give it a positive or a negative, I think I would skew positive, but just barely. This is the definition to me of on the fence. And so the critical reviews, we're just looking at Rotten Tomatoes, which Rotten Tomatoes is not a be-all, end-all, because Rotten Tomatoes asks the critics to put yes or no. Did you like the film? Did you not like the film? Doesn't say how much they liked the film, how much they didn't like the film, right? So Rotten Tomatoes has Captain America Brave New World at a 48%, and it has the popcorn meter, which is the audience score, at a 79%, which is pretty good. It is pretty good, all things considered. So recently I was looking at movie news, and I stumbled upon this quote here from one of the many writers of Captain America Brave New World, Rob Edwards. He's one of the credited writers, and he was speaking to the Direct to promote a movie that he's writing called King of Kings, and he has some very interesting things to say in terms of the critical reception of Captain America Brave New World. So I am reading an article here from, I think it's comicbookmovie.com, and they're basically synthesizing the interview and pulling some quotes. So let's dive into this a little bit. So I am reading here from this article, and then in this article will be some direct quotes. So this is from comicbookmovie.com. Quote, while speaking to the Direct at WonderCon over the weekend, one of the movie's 6 credited writers, Rob Edwards, was asked if he was surprised by the critical response. This is Rob Edwards' quote. Quote, I kind of did, kind of didn't. I think similar things have happened with a lot of different projects. It was weird to me because some of my friends who are critics, I said, I think you guys missed it. I think you guys got it wrong. When the audience's marks came in, everybody I saw said, not only did I love it, but I brought my family to the next week, he added. I've seen it more than once. He's still quoting these people. It's a thoroughly enjoyable film, and I don't know what everyone's talking about. Again, still quoting at least what he, alleges to be other people. And then he continues. I mean, that's really what you want as opposed to the other thing. Okay. I have a lot of thoughts on this. So first of all, is there anything wrong with an artist, a writer, a filmmaker, an actor who made something that objectively critics didn't like, or at least were on the fence about? And this is objective data, right? This is not about whether I like the film, which is subjective, or other people like the film, which is subjective. This is about objective data. Captain America Brave New World had a rotten score on Rotten Tomatoes, 48%. Not terrible, but not great. Am I ever going to blame an artist for coming out and saying, yeah, I mean, I'm really proud of what I did here. I know that people didn't like it, to some extent. I'm really proud of what I made here. I am never, ever, ever going to blame somebody for saying that, because, I mean, for all of you who have made art in some form or fashion, whether it's music or writing or created something, right? Even if other people don't like it, you have every right to be proud of it. If it's something you put your time and effort and energy and heart and soul into it, you have every right to be proud of it. I take issue with this idea of, you guys just missed it. You guys just got it wrong. There is no got it wrong. He can say, right, he is totally within his rights, Rob Edwards, to say, well, I don't quite get why people didn't like the movie, but I acknowledge that it didn't do as well. And move on, right? Either move on or say, I want to learn from that, or whatever. He's totally within his rights. For example, right? And this doesn't just apply, by the way, to films that I personally am on the fence about. Here's another film, Eternals. Eternals has a very similar rating on Rotten Tomatoes. Yet Eternals is a film, if I had to tier list the MCU right now, would be very solidly in the A tier of the MCU for me, which other people say is blasphemous. Other people are like, that's crazy. I've talked to friends about this. Some people that I know really think the Eternals is boring. Other people I know really love the Eternals, like me. And so if I'm Chloe Zhao, who directed the Eternals, I would personally be thinking something very similar to, well, yeah, I mean, I'm so proud of the movie I made. And personally, I see those critical scores. I don't quite get it. And you stop right there. If you stop right there, I go, great. I mean, you don't get it. I don't get it. I personally don't get it. I don't understand why so many people don't like the Eternals to that extent. That's fine. That is what it is. We go a little further though when you say I think you guys got it wrong and I think you guys missed it, because it's just people's opinions about it. I mean, you could say insofar as I think you missed the message or missed the themes or whatever, but at the end of the day, people's experiences are people's experiences. And I also have a little bit of a problem with I say problem. Rob Edwards can live his life. It doesn't matter. I'm just somebody on YouTube, on Spotify, just talking, right? It doesn't matter. I'm not trying to disparage this guy at all. I wanted to bring this up because I thought it was interesting. But he brings up evidence, right? Or evidence in his eyes. And the evidence he says is, well, everyone I showed the movie to said, oh, I loved it. I mean, okay, right? Great. I mean, I love that people loved it. Is that sample size perhaps a little biased? Maybe, right? One could imagine, him asking, did you like the movie? And they're like, oh yeah, I love the movie. And I mean, yeah, sure. If somebody that I really liked said, that I was good friends with said, hey, did you like the thing I made? Even if I hated it, I wouldn't have, maybe I wouldn't have lied, but I wouldn't have said, oh, I loved it, right? Maybe, but it's hard. It's hard to give feedback to people, I don't know. I'm just speculating here. The point being is that at the very worst, or at the very least, this evidence is anecdotal. So I don't know. Like, I think maybe I would have had less of an issue with this if he came out and said, well, I think I made a really good movie. We wrote a really good movie. And, here's some evidence to back it up. Even though Captain America Brave New World has a 48% on Rotten Tomatoes, if you look at all the positive scores, they're like 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10. And if you look at all the negative reviews, they're 5 or 6 out of 10. So I think that, by the way, you can give the film a 6 out of 10 and still make it rotten, I believe. Like, I think it's the choice of the reviewer to make it rotten or fresh. So again, I mean, if he had said that and had been like, so I don't get it, I would have been like, yeah, that's fair. I don't get that either, right? It like the perception is worse than the ratings were. The fact that he's like, my friends really like the movie. I'm really glad that his friends like the movie. I don't mean that sarcastically at all. I find this whole thing interesting, right? The whole thing of you guys just missed it. I think you got it wrong. I'm just reading the quote here. For me, again, I have no problem with artists being proud of their craft and their work. Not at all. Even if the world hates it, I have no problem with it. I just have a problem with you guys got it wrong because got what wrong? Got their opinion wrong? And who is you guys? The whole world? I mean, so that's what's confusing to me. I just thought I'd bring this up, not because it has any real consequence of to Captain America: Brave New World, but just because I thought it was interesting. So, what do you guys think of the comments from writer Rob Edwards about the fact that he thinks critics got Captain America: Brave New World wrong? Let me know in the comments down below.